Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. So, wake up. How are you guys doing today? How's your week going? If the week slipped away from you like it sometimes slips away from me, that's okay. This is an opportunity to lift our heads up midweek and to recalibrate towards our plan. And the way that we do that is we check against our GSD list right here that we write down, which is our Get Stuff Done list. And our Get Stuff Done list is not just a to-do list. It is an outcome-driven list. So every day we're going to write our outcomes on the left side. These might be outcomes we want to hit per quarter, per end of the year. And then we write our to-dos after, and we actually draw a line and we tie those to-dos back to the outcomes. Because if we're not working towards our outcomes, then we're just going from meeting to meeting, call to call, ping to ping, query to query, and we're not making progress towards our plan. So wake up. I want to talk to you guys today about an article that I posted in the group chat, and I'm just going to pull up my notes here to make sure I give you all the most important information. And the article was entitled, "What's the Purpose of Your First Demo of the Year?" And I'd like to start off with a quote, and that quote is, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast. The way we do things determine how well we do them." Now that's from Peter Drucker and Edgar Schein. So your first demo sets the tone for how you're going to build for the whole year. All right. And you're probably thinking in your head right now, okay, we'll just do a quick walkthrough. We'll show a couple screen shares. We'll get some people in the room and we'll say, tick, we're done with this demo. But the first demo is not about showing the progress. Remember, it's only the first demo of the year. It's not about progress, but it's to set the expectation on what we're going to focus on and the quality and content of how we're going to do things, ownership, how serious we are, which is why we're scheduling it and we're doing it, and how we're going to use tools and we're going to be cloud native, use things like AI tools. So that's really the purpose of the first demo of the year. And there's a couple key questions that we can ask ourselves before we go into that demo to make sure that it's successful. And so the first question we can ask ourselves is, what belief are we rebuilding or we rebranding? What's the belief we want to inspire in people? And so this first demo, the purpose is to reignite confidence in the vision. Remember, vision drives decision. If we don't have a vision of the overall objective of what we want to do, then it's hard to say we're here and we want to get here. So before we talk about bells, whistles, features, and functions, the first demo has to answer a question. Do people still believe in the vision? Are they on board with the overall product that we're delivering? And after a long build cycle, it's sometimes hard to inspire confidence because we've been building so long and stakeholders don't necessarily know what they're getting. It's kind of like all the work that happens in a house behind the walls, the structure, the framing, the electricity, the plumbing, all that stuff is the foundational work. And so we want to inspire people to believe in what we're building. So this is an opportunity to reconnect the people with the work. So the do's and the don'ts are, number one, frame the demo as a story, as a user journey, as a problem, as an improvement. Frame it as this is your user story, this is your user journey. You let them know that you understand where they're coming from by doing that. You want to reconnect the work to real impact. So, i.e., we sat down with John in compliance, we looked at the workflow John goes through at his computer, and these are the challenges John is struggling with. So you want to connect it back to a real person, a real department, and you want to show what you learn, not just output. So it's not enough to just say, our old query time was 5 seconds, but now we can increase our query time to 1.5 seconds, and that's less than a 50% reduction or more than a 50% reduction. Instead, you want to talk about what you learned. So along this journey of sitting with John and working on these challenges, we learned that compliance actually has to go through these additional checks. So therefore, we have to do these additional things. So show learning, not just output. Here's what you don't want to do. These are the don'ts. You don't want to just go through Jira ticket after Jira ticket after Jira ticket. So this is Jira ID 12345, blah, 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 blah. Jira ID 65789, blah, 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 blah. Don't just show a list of Jira tickets and go through them. If you're using Jira, that's great, but it's not enough to use Jira. It's how you use Jira. Don't assume that the stakeholders are the right stakeholders in the room. And number two, that they know what the strategy is. You want to make sure you have the right people in the room. You want to keep the room tight, not a lot of people, less amount of people, the better, the decision makers. And you want to keep going back to the strategy. Remember, before we talk about that, we're here. We want to say, we know we want to get here, right? And here is the end vision, is the end picture, and the end strategy. Don't treat progress like it's self-explanatory. Don't just assume that the progress you made, that people can see that. You want to tell them that you literally want to spell, this is the progress we made. These are the challenges we solved for. This is what we learned. So what's the AI tool you can use for this? Use ChatGPT. Before the demo, feed everything into ChatGPT. If your company doesn't allow for you to use ChatGPT, use Microsoft Copilot or use whatever AI tool your company allows for, and have it give you a narrative that's focused on what you learned, on the output, on the user journey, and ask it to focus on those three things, and it'll actually help you to frame that conversation so that stakeholders and clients get the most out of it. The next question you want to ask yourself, number two, is how? How does this tie back to strategy? So the demo is an opportunity to get everyone on the same page. It creates alignment. They're not just progress updates. It's a ritual. So as part of all the different ceremonies you're going to have, the demo is part of the ceremony ritual. Now, I do demos once a month. Generally speaking, we do them the first of the month, every month. And it makes things visible, it makes them debatable, and it makes it clear. People will debate on and on and on, but when you show them the demo, when you show them what is actually happening and how things are working, it makes it much more clear, and it stops a lot of the debates. So a really good demo is going to help stakeholders to reconnect to what they're seeing, why it matters, not just what you built. Don't just assume because you built it, it's the best thing. Always relate it to the challenges that they're solving for on the user journey. So when you do it well, they understand the trade-offs you had to make, and they understand what you're saying no to, which is important. You can't just say yes to everything. If you say yes to everything, then nothing is going to get done. So they need to understand what you said no to, why you said no to these things, so that they understand the value for all the yeses. So the do's and the don'ts are, number one, you want to map out your quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four, depending on where you are, back to your objectives and key results. So what's the objective, and what are the 2 to 4 key results that you actually measure it by? If you're doing things like themes, you can map it to the themes as well. You want to reinforce, this is why this matters, this is why we're doing this in Q1, this is why we're not doing it in Q2, and this is what we have lined up for next quarter. So reinforce that. Don't assume that it's clear, because it's not. And make trade-offs visible. So say, the reason why you didn't get the GUI, the interface, the bells and whistles, the dials and levers right now is because we're working on the foundational stuff. You'll get that stuff in Q2, Q3. So make sure people are aware of what those trade-offs are. So here are the don'ts. Don't demo the disconnected work, the things that people are not going to care about, which is why you want to run that through your AI tool ahead of time to really get concise on what are the things they care about. Don't walk them through the things that they're not going to care about, because you're going to lose your audience. Don't assume that velocity, burn down, churn, things like this speak for themselves. Glamour metrics don't help. Stakeholders don't care how many story points you went to, on average, how many epics you have per story. They don't care about those things. They care about real world deliverables and end results. So make sure you relate it to real world deliverables and end results, not glamour metrics. Don't let strategy just live in some fancy PowerPoint slide or some well-written demo or memo, whatever you guys choose to use. Let strategy be something that you actually show in the demo, show in the software, show what's working. And so an AI tool you can use for these do's and don'ts is Atlassian's Rovo. Rovo is Jira's AI tool. You can use it to summarize your Jira tickets, summarize your epics, summarize what was done, summarize what's in the backlog, summarize what's in coming sprints. So you can have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things. You work with Rovo, you can interact, it'll scan through all of them, it'll scan through your Confluence pages, all your wiki pages in Confluence, your FAQs, and it'll give you a summary, it'll give you a single view. This is a good starting point to walk into your demo with. So once again, you're not going ticket by ticket, but you're going on output and value. The next question you want to ask yourself, number 3, is who owns the story? Don't assume that the PM, that the agility lead, that the program manager, or even the highest level executive in the room owns the story. You want to give the story. So say, this is Jane. Jane owns the UI. She's going to take us through the UI journey. This is John. John owns the database. John's going to take us through all the things that need to happen in the database. This is Jack. Jack works in compliance. He's one of our end product users. Jack's going to take us through a compliance journey. So the story needs to be owned not by just one person and not just by a facilitator, but by all of the people in charge, and bring them to the front and center so that people put a face to the work. When you have multiple people telling the story, it gives it more credibility, and it makes it learning feel shared, and outcomes become shared across multiple people. The demo should not feel like a presentation. It should feel like a conversation. And so if Jane is talking about all the things they did in the demo before she hands off to John, it can be, hey, John, can you talk everyone through how you made these data elements available to us so we could show them in the UI? And then John can pick up and talk about that. So it's a conversation where you're sitting around the table. It should feel informal. It should not feel like a formal presentation. And it should reflect how things really get done. So where you give credit to credit's due. You don't want one main guy, one main gal who's the PM or the agility lead or the executive standing in the front of the room, coordinating everything, taking credit for everything. That's definitely what you don't want to do. All right, so here are some more do's and don'ts. So do invite multiple people. So product, ops, tech, leadership, design, engineering, research, sales, compliance. Invite all the key stakeholders. The acronym we used to use is PODL: product, ops, tech, leadership, or policy, PODL compliant, sometimes for compliance. All right, share credit and progress. Give credit where credit's due. Share that out. Don't let one person take credit for everything. And reinforce that there's shared ownership. Once again, reinforce this is John. John's handling all our database issues. This is Jack. Jack's handling the messaging layer in between. So make sure people are clear on who to go to and who owns the stuff. So don't control the microphone. Don't be the one person in the room that's dominating the conversation, that's talking over everyone. Don't turn it into a presentation. It's a conversation. It's not a presentation. And don't try and make it overly polished. If it's overly polished, it's going to feel fake. It's going to feel inauthentic. Show them your learning journey. Show them your mistakes. So the AI tool you can use for this, I'm a fan of Zoom. Use Zoom's AI Companion. When you use Zoom's AI Companion in a meeting, you can have some people in the room physically with you. You can have people from all around the world. In the virtual room, Zoom, you let Zoom's AI Companion capture all the notes, summarize it for you. Zoom has a live feature where people can, if they need to step out of the room, if they come in early, if they come in late based on their schedule, they can just ask the AI Companion. The AI Companion can give them a summary, and you can let people interact with that in real time. And that ensures that everyone's focus is on what we're doing and in the room, and not on worrying about capturing action items in meeting minutes. You can let everybody know that you and your team have that under control. They're more than welcome to take notes if they like, but you're going to take care of that, and you're going to use Zoom's AI Companion to help you with that they can check in with real time, in addition to sending the summary after. Okay, so the last question you're going to ask yourself, number 4, is, so, all right, Mark, I did all this. What comes next? What happens? So when you end the screen share, when you're done and the meeting is done, it's not to be like, okay, guys, let's everybody go back to sleep. Everybody, go back to our desk and put our feet up. The end of the demo, when you ask yourself what's next, the end of the demo is done to create forward momentum. All right, so you got a lot of momentum, a lot of clarity in that demo, and now you want to build off that clarity to gain confidence on what the team is doing going forward. And you should have some more narratives, some more action items off the back of that demo that help you to build going forward. So do make sure that you, number 1, end with what's going to happen next and why this is going to matter. So you might say, okay, guys, in 2 weeks after our next sprint, we're going to do our retrospective. In our retrospective, we're going to talk about these 3 things. We'll have more progress on them than what we discussed today. You want to make sure that you leave stakeholders wanting more, that they're aligned. You might tell them, okay, guys, looking forward to the demo next month. In next month's demo, we're going to show you A, B, C, X, Y, and Z. Stakeholders should want to dial into these meetings. They should want to come to these meetings. It shouldn't just be another meeting, another blur to them. You want to call out responsibility for the next sprint. So you might say, okay, I'm going to take these action items And Jane is going to take these action items. She's going to fix these two things in the UI. She's going to update these two things in the UI that you said, and I'm going to do this. So make it crystal clear, go through it. Don't end abruptly. Don't be like, oh, okay, guys, we're at time. All right, see you on the next one, and just end the call. You would be surprised at how often that happens. You want to stick to a schedule. You want to start early, but you want to make sure that you end on time and you end with that summary and that next steps before you end the call. Don't skip on how you can improve these demos. So as you're getting live feedback in this conversation, you want to repeat that back and take note of that. And you say, okay, great. You know, John, I like what you said there. We'll make sure we reflect on that and include that for next time. All right. So keep that reflection there. Don't skip over that. And once again, don't treat the demo as a to-do list. Don't treat it as, okay, we showed a couple screens, we listened to a couple complaints, next done, and then you don't really change anything. Don't do that. That's how you're going to lose credibility with your stakeholders, and they're not going to want to continue to work with you guys. So the AI tool you can use for this is Microsoft Copilot. You can use this to summarize the decisions, summarize the next steps, action items, take discussion points, make them more clear, make them more concise, and you can have that ready to import directly into Jira. So let's wrap all of that up to go. Let's talk about a call to action. So the first demo really is a demo of the culture. What you were doing is you were demonstrating this first demo of the year is going to set the tone of how we do things all year. So don't rush it. Don't make it feel fragmented or disconnected. Connect it to the strategy. Remember, you tell them we're here. You show them on the roadmap, we're here and we want to get here. Here is the end goal. Here is the strategy. That needs to be crystal clear. If that is not crystal clear, make that crystal clear before you have the demo. Otherwise, the pattern will repeat itself every month, every quarter, in 6 months, and people are not going to be focused. And so you're perpetuating the problem. Make sure it's user-driven and purpose-aligned, and it's going to carry forward with clarity, and people will have confidence in what you're doing. So skip out on the pride, set the tone early, and wake up and hustle harder. So what's your call to action? Your call to action is 3 very important things. Number 1, take a look at your demo agenda, rework it, make sure it leads with outcomes, not just achieving tasks and going Jira through Jira through Jira. Number 2, invite at least 2 to 3 cross-functional voices. So PODL, product, ops, tech, compliance, leadership, legal, cyber, design. Make sure you go through all of that and you have people with different viewpoints that are impacted by your project on the call. And end the demo, number 3, end the demo with a clear view of what's going to happen next. Let them know, okay, our next meeting on Wednesday, we're going to do this. All right, guys, so I am curious, how do you run your first demos? What are some of the trends you've seen? Reach out to me, let me know. I'm curious to see how you're doing that. Remember to hustle harder, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye. Just close out my notes here and wrap this up.